Am I the antagonist for not forgiving my Gran when she accused me of fraud? I completed my university studies in 2022 and had to find a place to stay after moving away for university. Since both of my parents' houses were full, my Gran offered her place for me to stay. However, my Gran is known for being a little eccentric. She is very wealthy, has an unusual thought process, and does unpredictable things. She is not usually the first person I turn to for help because she tends to use it against you. For example, once I borrowed £20 from her for bus fare, and she harassed me for 3 days until I paid her back early, causing me to miss school. Despite this, her offer to let me stay in one of her rooms seemed appealing because the train station was conveniently located near the city, which would have been helpful for viewings and interviews. Moving out of university was an incredibly stressful experience for me. I was working up until the day before, and packing 3 years' worth of belongings was quite overwhelming. Whenever I am stressed, I tend to get tonsillitis. On the last day, I was so ill that I couldn't eat, even though it was over 30 degrees Celsius outside. I had to wear 3 layers and use the heating. When I arrived at my Gran's house, I informed her that I would be unwell for a few days and needed rest, as well as antibiotics. The first couple of days at my Gran's place were fine, although she kept asking if I wanted to do anything or go anywhere. However, due to being sick and not having eaten in days, I couldn't participate. On the second evening, she mentioned some strange charges on her credit card and said she had contacted the police. On the third day, she entered my room and asked me to pack my bags because she couldn't take care of me. Despite my explanation that I only needed water and a change of the sick bucket since I was sleeping all day due to my illness, she dropped me off at my mom's house, where I had to sleep on the sofa. After 7 days, I started to feel better, but I was still fragile and couldn't eat. I wanted to return to my Gran's place because of the proximity to the train station. I called her, asked if I could come back, and she agreed. During our conversation, she mentioned the strange charges on her card once again and told me they had occurred online in a city located about an hour and a half away from my university town. At that time, I didn't think much of it. My mom dropped me off at my Gran's house and left. When I knocked on the door, there was no response, although I could hear the dog inside. I tried calling and texting her until she sent me a message accusing me of committing fraud on her card. I attempted to reason with her, explaining that it was impossible since I hadn't seen her in over 3 years. I also pointed out that her card would have expired during that time, and I had never even been to the city where the fraudulent charges occurred. However, nothing I said convinced her. I even mentioned that if my other grandma were still alive, she would never treat me this way. Due to the situation, I had to stay at a hotel, and the stress caused me to become ill once again, making it difficult for me to eat. Thankfully, on the 11th day, I found a place and moved there. A year later, when speaking with my dad, he mentioned that my Gran couldn't believe I was still not speaking to her and advised me to let go of the grudge. He admitted that she had made up the charges to justify not wanting me to stay with her despite my multiple requests. Now that she is old and over a year has passed, I am unsure if I should move on and keep her at arm's length or if I am justified in holding on to this grudge. Was I in the wrong here? You are not wrong for feeling hurt and betrayed by your grandmother's actions. She not only falsely accused you of fraud, but also refused to let you stay with her when you were in need. It is understandable that you would hold a grudge against her. It is up to you to decide whether you want to move on from the situation or keep her at arm's length. It may be helpful to consider the impact her actions have had on your relationship with her and whether or not you believe she has genuinely apologized or shown remorse. It is important to prioritize your own well-being and emotional health in making this decision. Am I the antagonist for not visiting my sister-in-law and her new baby because I'm angry at her? I need an unbiased opinion on a situation that has made me very angry, and I'm unsure if I'm being unreasonable. I am a 33-year-old single mom to my 15-year-old daughter, Ellie. My brother, who is 29, recently got married to a woman named Hannah, who is 28. They have been together for a total of 3 years. A few weeks ago, Hannah gave birth to their first child together. While she has welcomed visitors, I have chosen not to visit her and their baby because I am angry at her. My anger stems from a month ago when Hannah and my brother temporarily stayed at my place for a week. They were between rent leases and needed a place to stay in the meantime. Although I wasn't thrilled about them staying with me due to my complicated relationship with my brother, I wanted to help them out. On the day they arrived and the day they left, Hannah screamed at my daughter and berated her for minor things. The first incident occurred when Ellie helped them bring their belongings into the house. She left a pack of their soda bottles on the kitchen counter, which was forgotten until dinner time. Hannah became upset because the bottles weren't in the fridge, claiming that warm soda makes her feel sick. While she did apologize to Ellie afterward, it didn't seem genuine as she blamed it on her hormones. The second incident happened when I was at work. Ellie had eaten some fruit roll-up snacks that were in the kitchen, not realizing they belonged to Hannah. Hannah screamed at Ellie, causing her to cry, and called her useless and stupid. My brother tried to calm Hannah down and took her to the store to buy more snacks. However, Hannah never apologized for her behavior and acted as if nothing had happened. I confronted Hannah about these incidents, and she still hasn't apologized. She attributed her behavior to being heavily pregnant and on edge. She also implied that my daughter lacks manners and should have asked before eating the snacks. Ellie, in her teenage phase, has expressed her feelings about this situation to me. She doesn't want to visit Hannah and the new baby, and I feel the same way. I can't look at Hannah in the same light after witnessing her treat my daughter poorly, especially over such trivial matters. I would never scream at someone else's child in the way she did, even when I was pregnant. I'm struggling to understand why she overreacted and was so mean-spirited towards my daughter. My brother has been wondering why we haven't visited, so I explained that I am upset with his wife's actions. He believes I am overreacting and coddling my daughter. Our parents have gotten involved and told me I am being unkind and hurting everyone's feelings. Am I in the wrong here? It is understandable that you are angry and upset about Hannah's treatment of your daughter. No child deserves to be screamed at and berated, especially for such small things. It is concerning that Hannah has not apologized for her behavior and instead shifted blame onto your daughter. It is your choice to not visit Hannah and the new baby until you receive a genuine apology. Your brother and parents should be more understanding and supportive of your concerns and feelings. Would I be the antagonist if I refused to look after my sister's baby once she finishes maternity leave? Hello. My twin sister, 29, and her boyfriend, 34, are expecting their first child together in early June. This will be my sister's firstborn, but her boyfriend already has 2 children of his own, 8 and 14. The mother of his teenage son doesn't allow him to see his own son, and the mother of his 8-year-old daughter dumps their daughter on him every weekend, so she can go out partying and drinking with her friends. My sister is not on maternity leave as of yet, but once she gives birth to her baby, she will be expected to go back a few months after she has given birth. She didn't explicitly tell me this, but she has hinted that she expects me and my parents, 67 and 71, to babysit her child every day when she goes back to work. She works as a dental nurse, and she goes to work every day except for Sundays. I have multiple disabilities. One of my disabilities is called slipped capital femoral epiphysis. One of the symptoms of this condition is that I sometimes get excruciating pains in the femur joint in my left leg. This can make walking very painful, especially in the mornings after I get out of bed. On top of this, my mom has also experienced severe chronic pains since she had treatment for oropharyngeal cancer just over a decade ago. The treatment has led to a series of complications that required her to have a shoulder replacement in her left shoulder. Because of this, she cannot raise her arm much and she can't lift heavy things either. My dad, while relatively fit for his age, has a very short temper. He easily gets angry over the smallest things. I wouldn't want his future granddaughter or grandson to be exposed to that. My sister's boyfriend isn't particularly close with either of his parents, especially his dad. He also has a younger sister, 28F, who used to be in the same class as my sister in primary school. However, she already has 2 children of her own, and I don't think he would want to burden her with her future niece or nephew. I would really like to spend some time with my future niece or nephew, but I don't think I'll be able to look after them for 6 out of 7 days of the week. I just know if I declined, everyone would guilt-trip me into doing so. They often do this to me, especially my mother. I just know they would say things like, "Stop being so selfish," or "Family is supposed to help each other." Would I be the asshole if I refused to look after my sister's baby when she finishes maternity leave? You have valid reasons for not being able to take on the responsibility of babysitting your sister's baby every day. Your own health conditions, as well as your mother's chronic pain and your father's temperament, make it clear that this arrangement would not be feasible. It's important to prioritize your own well-being and set boundaries. While it's understandable that your sister may have expectations or assumptions about family helping each other, it's not fair for her to expect you to take on such a significant commitment given your circumstances. You should have an open and honest conversation with your sister about your limitations and concerns. Explain your disabilities and how they impact your ability to provide the level of care that she expects. It's important to communicate your limitations and boundaries respectfully and honestly. If your family tries to guilt-trip you, remember that it's okay to prioritize your health and well-being. You are not obligated to sacrifice your own physical and mental health for the sake of others. It's essential to take care of yourself first. Suggest alternative solutions, such as exploring other childcare options, including hiring a babysitter or looking for a daycare. This way, your sister can find a reliable and suitable arrangement for her child without burdening you or your parents. Would I be the antagonist if I went to my adult sons for Christmas instead of staying with my husband and stepfamily? I am a 46-year-old woman who has been in a relationship with my 55-year-old husband for 7 years, and we have been married for 4 years. I have a 21-year-old son who is mildly on the autism spectrum and whom I raised mostly on my own. My husband has an 18-year-old son and a 12-year-old daughter whom he shares custody with 50/50ths. I work full-time while my husband is a part-time student and relies on family investments for income. He owns the house we live in, and we generally keep our finances separate. We all used to live together as a family for several years until my son left for university 3 years ago, and generally things have been going well. We have been fortunate that all the kids get along, although we have had a few disagreements about parenting styles and tolerance. My son now has a girlfriend, 18, whom he lives with. She has cut off contact with her mother, whom I believe has bipolar disorder and anger issues, and she didn't really know her father. The girlfriend seems nice but has her own mental health struggles. for which she seeks help. She genuinely loves my son and makes him happy. This year, my son asked if his girlfriend could stay with us for Christmas. He doesn't want to leave her alone, so if she can't come, he won't be able to join us for the celebrations. However, my husband finds having people stay over very stressful and it triggers his anxiety, so he said no. I understand that my husband has been dealing with his own mental health issues for the past year, but it puts me in a difficult position with my son. I suggested that I could go to my son's house to help cook and celebrate Christmas if they can't come here. My son said that would mean a lot to him because it would feel more like a family gathering. However, my husband is very upset about this suggestion and doesn't want me to go. To find a compromise, I offered to pay for an Airbnb nearby for my son and his girlfriend to stay in while they spend Christmas Day with us. However, my son says his girlfriend now feels unwelcome and uncomfortable. I have told my husband that I might still go to my son's house for Christmas. I didn't anticipate this being an issue because my husband doesn't enjoy Christmas. His kids usually come to our house after 2 p.m., open presents, and then do their own thing until dinner, which traditionally consists of chicken schnitzel in their family. My husband loves cooking for his kids and usually takes charge of preparing most of the food in our home. He is very upset that I would consider going elsewhere for Christmas Day, and he wants me to be with him and his kids. He has been unhappy and expressing his disappointment for the past few days, making it clear that I will be letting him down if I go. I'm aware that I am part of my husband's family, and my son is now a grown-up, but he is still my son and I feel torn. My son cannot leave his girlfriend alone, but he wants to see me. My husband is uncomfortable with her staying over and she feels too rejected to stay nearby and visit. Additionally, my husband expects me to be with him for Christmas. I am simply stuck in the middle and want everyone to be happy. Would I be in the wrong here? You are in a difficult position with conflicting desires from your son and your husband. However, your husband's anxiety and discomfort with having people stay over should not dictate your choices and prevent you from spending time with your son and his girlfriend during Christmas. It is important to prioritize your relationship with your son and support him, especially considering his girlfriend's mental health issues and the fact that she doesn't have a supportive family. It is understandable that he wants to be with her during the holidays, and your willingness to go to their house or arrange for an Airbnb shows your effort to find a compromise. Your husband's expectation for you to be with him and his children is valid, but should not come at the expense of your relationship with your son. It is essential to have a conversation with your husband about your feelings and the importance of being there for your son. In the end, you should make a decision based on what feels right for you and your son. It may not please everyone, but it's important to prioritize your own well-being and the happiness of your child.